There we
All right.
go. Good morning, Thor.
Good morning, Ines. How you been?
Fine. Yeah, I have the window open. There's sort of a nice cool breeze that's sort of wafting in, which is very pleasant.
Yeah, it's a bit more chill today, isn't it? I actually had to my window has been wide open all week, and today I had to actually put on socks and slightly close it.
That's right. Yeah.
Because it
Nice.
definitely was a bit more chilly today. But hey, not complaining about the weather. It's
No,
great to have a bit of
it is
sunlight, isn't it?
absolutely. Yeah. The time will be soon enough with that we have the heating on and it's still not warm enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we're already over halfway July. We're more than halfway through the year,
I
and suddenly
know.
it's October and it's winter again. So
Yeah.
let's just enjoy it for as much as it's worth.
Totally. God, it's good to see you. It's really,
Good to
really
see you
good.
too.
Thank you. And we always chat about also the individuals that chat to us, their problems, their questions, how they approach life. I mean, okay, so we've eased with lockdown, but the uncertainty that I'm feeling with people, I've also approached them. I said, "Do you feel a bit skittish?" And this isn't just one age group. And they said, "Yeah." Where I'm living, everybody still has their mask on. It's almost like which is correct, but like a cave syndrome. I'm not going to come out yet. It's sort of checking out what's going on around us. And what it's horrific that actually we're blackballed um, about anybody coming from Britain visiting other countries.
Mm.
That's not nice.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't see anybody else doing better than we are. Do you?
I couldn't comment because I haven't looked at this. I think I need to look at the stats before I can have
Mm,
any
mm.
comments on that. But I think
Yes.
from what I was reading now, what's quite interesting about England is that the numbers are just as bad as they were in September, and then they've
Yes, they
decided to
were.
open up. How smart is that?
Exactly. I think what they're trying to do, correct me, is that depending how many people are infected, do not need hospitalization or are not in emergency.
Well,
So that is herd immunity, I think.
but that's the thing. The hospital admissions are going up at the same
Yes,
rate as they were in
precisely.
September. So it's not so far. I mean, I'm sort of a hopeful optimist. I'm like maybe it's just a blip, but
Yeah. No,
as well
I
as
agree.
the momentum, yeah.
And then other people have said, which is quite right. I'm not talking about politicians. They said, when is the world going to open up? How many
Mm,
years are we going to have to live in isolation,
yeah,
from one another? And that's all age groups. I mean, young people, young kids such as 5 and 6 year olds, they're feeling the effect too. They can't
yeah,
interact with people.
yeah. So
You know,
how do we
it's
deal with this, Ines? How do we deal with this difficult time?
well, I think what you said. I'm just going to suck it up. I know it's a comic situation, and the world, which is the nice thing, it's not just us. We all have to earn money. The
Mm,
economies have to get into gear again. Otherwise, we cannot support those areas that need money. Always,
mm,
and it's just a fact of life.
yeah.
So I'm hoping that other people would say we have two jabs. They're now I think they're now jabbing 12-year-olds, aren't they, as well? So hopefully that will help,
Yeah.
create this immunity thing.
Yeah. I hope so.
I think after Delta variant, I think there'll be another one.
Yeah,
This
probably.
is it. Yeah. I'm glad they're not calling it by countries because that's
Yeah.
that's offensive,
Yeah, I
especially when
totally
it's
agree.
our turn to start with B.
Well, it was a British variant for a while, wasn't
Yes,
it?
there was. Yes. Oh, can't have those. Yeah, not nice.
Well, it's very unfortunate if your company is called Delta, though. I saw this post on Instagram
That's right. Yes.
about the airline in America, which is obviously called
That's right. Yeah,
Delta.
that's gone. Fly us. We're safe. Yes, we're the variant.
Yeah, with a
Yeah,
variant called
that's
Delta.
right. Yeah, that's good. Anyways, finding a little podcast, finding happiness and being happy in life is really, really so important. And sometimes, we think, I don't know what you think, where do we get this happy pill from? It's not, when everything's still sort of vaguely doom and gloom, unless you're the richest man in the world. The
Well,
Amazon, yeah, he's the richest man in the world that just went up in the rocket,
yeah,
his own
The
little
Jeff
rocket.
Bezos, yeah.
But he started in a garage, so I actually don't have a problem with him.
Well, if he didn't pay he could pay his taxes though, right?
No, not very much from what I heard.
Well, exactly. That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, that is the problem. And I
Yeah.
think if you have that such enormous wealth, why not put it into research for the world, that we all get injected,
Yeah.
that we send out troops of not volunteers, everybody has the right to live,
Yeah.
to get everyone inoculated.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like,
Heal the world.
I have no problem with Jeff as long as he paid his dues,
Yes, exactly. No, I like you calling him Christian name, puts him down to our sort of level, doesn't it? Anyway, it's really important to find happiness in life, and life is meant to be happy. However, we also know, certainly on our Spiritual Link broadcast, that life is also supposed to have its challenges, isn't it? So hence, otherwise there's no meaning, so we have the ups and we have the downs, of course. And in essence, what we were also saying, Thor, we don't really know what's going to happen from one moment to the next. We were talking about that amazing hike that you went on Box Hill, which is local, and you twisted your ankle, but severely, didn't you?
Yes, really.
Yeah, exactly. Had that been worse, you could have been away from your training for a good half a year.
Yeah.
So we don't know. I never saw this pandemic coming.
Yeah.
I'm sort of trying to read and so on and so on. I don't think anybody saw this pandemic coming whatsoever. So anyway, we don't know what's going to happen, which is fine. But meditation, in essence, is actually a balancing situation. And it's very, very, very important balancing situation, because meditation is able to balance the scales, the set of scales in life, the ups and the downs and the so on. So meditation is, as I can see it, and I think you might agree, Thor, is our meditative palace. And that doesn't always mean the lamps, the incense, the candles. That's not what it's all about. Even though we might need it or want it, that's only physical. That's not what it's a place where literally we close the door within our mind. We close the door to our mind, to the activities, to the anger that's around us, to the apprehension, to the doubts, the frustrations that are around us. It's a sanctuary from sound, from actions. But even this sometimes breaks down. And I think we were talking about meditation, Thor, just the other day. It breaks down. Life is like that. So the more we practice, obviously, the stronger we can become. And the stronger we become, we are then possibly gives us the strength to be able to clear our mind, sometimes against all odds. And those all are against all odds means that the integrity, the strength of our own personality has to come forward. So the variations in the meditation is said, boom, 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 the same, the same, the same, the same. Fine. If that method breaks down, you pick and you cherry pick what works for you at that time. And then possibly, because you want to, your mind will find that strength. I think the meditation that we do, Thor, the brook of water, the brook of water symbolically, is the step between the dusty road and stuff like that, even going through that mirage of colors, is the divide between the physical. We see the brook of water. We perhaps get a glimpse of ourselves or whatever, strength. And then when we're in that meadow, it's another place. No one can reach us in that meadow. No one can take away that sanctum. No one can take away our peace. No one can take away our thoughts. And doesn't matter how horrific things are around you. And that is so important. What do you think when you approach that line, Thor? How do you feel a sort of a slight shift?
I think so. And I mean, I think there's a couple of things you said, which I think is really important to sort of bring into light, which is like you were talking about happiness and the happy pill. And I suppose the thing is like, there is no such thing as a pill, right? Because I think, at least in my point of view, happiness is something that you create, right? And it's
That's
something
right.
that you, in so many ways, have to decide every day. It's a bit like if you have a romantic partner, right? There's gonna be challenges,
Yeah.
but you're still gonna show up every day.
Yeah.
And be with that partner. And I think your own I think that's the kind of relationship that we have to have with our happiness, with our joy, with our sense of purpose, is that you have to check in with it every day and just check in. Oh, how's it going? How's it doing? I mean, I personally do that through my journaling. I journal every day, and I do that,
Good.
and I
That's
check in with
interesting.
my own. I check in with my own sense of self and my own well-being, and even times, even like this, even times during the day where I can sense that like my insecurities are being triggered or something a bit
Yeah.
off. I bring my journal out and I write it down, and that's a really effective way for me to like nip that in the bud quite quickly. So I think that's the thing with happiness is I think people think that you can buy it, and you just, I mean, obviously I have nice glasses, I have a nice t-shirt and stuff like that, and I like stuff, but I also know that that is just very, like, the duration of that happiness is very short, whilst the happiness of doing work, which is pretty challenging sometimes, being honest with yourself when you're doing your journaling is pretty tough, because sometimes you can be a real bullshitter with yourself, and you have to
Yeah.
address that. And that happiness has a lot more duration to it, I think. And then coming to the book, there's definitely, I don't know if I'd necessarily feel the I think the like the shift in my vibration definitely begins to change at that point, and I can definitely feel how the vibration is like changing more and more as I like walk across the brook and then into the meadow, then open up the chakras, and the vibration is like changing more and more and more. And actually, probably the biggest shift I get is when I've opened all the chakras and I sort of envelop myself in that white light. That's where I can feel like it's not like a dunk, but it's like a something completely changes, and I can feel them like linked in, and I'm connected, and I'm with my guides, and so on and so forth. And it's interesting, I find that with people when I guide them through the meditation as well, they normally say it normally takes about 10 minutes. The first 10 minutes is just, when we like calm the body, the desert, the brook. It normally, like, people say, like, they guesstimate, it's 10 minutes in, that's when they've sort of finally managed to get into it. And then I don't know where they are. I don't know where we normally are in 10 minutes in, but yeah, that's how I experienced it, at least.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I also like that you have a journal. Mind you're alone, so nobody can sneak a peek at your journal. The problem is if you're living with anyone, doesn't matter who it is, to keep your journal private. These are private thoughts. They're maybe only of the moment thoughts, and they may change literally in 5 minutes time. But you
Yeah.
don't want someone to look at those thoughts in a moment, because that can then be very controversial when all you're doing is getting it off your chest, type of thing. But I
Yeah.
know what you're saying about when the chakrams are open, which actually we're going to discuss. It's just, I feel as if my muscles are relaxed. I feel light. There's sort of a lightness,
Yeah.
if it's sort of physically described.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
For
yeah,
sure.
yeah. No, that's good. But again, as I said, against all odds, and there's a lot of things. It's not just the pandemic. There's always so much going on. Again, against all odds, if we can find that calmness, that's the happy pill. I agree. But where are we going with meditation? Where are we going, Ashley? And where we are going, if we talk about it on a physical level, we're going to the university of life. That's our journey. And this university of life is far more complicated, it's deeper, and has more widespread and diverse subjects than any regular university that we can think of. And what we're doing, we're learning to open our mind, and we're learning to try to understand what is within us. But that, again, sounds perhaps ambiguous. What it is, it's not just finding out, oh God, you're such an amazing person. That is where ideas come from, that inspirational spark. We've all been different things in our lives. And that is where we are open and understand what is within us, this entrepreneurial attitude. Perhaps we're mother hen, perhaps we're the athlete. That is where our strength lies and is able to come forward. What do you think about that, Thor? Have you ever meditated on or pondered on a question, and you took that thought with you into meditation?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I find that the meditation can be very transformative in the ways in which that I experienced that. So I had a just a short little thing with a friend this week, which sort of was a bit triggering, or sort of was like, that was annoying. And then I took that experience with me into the meditation, and somehow I think I sort of just took the energy of that event and just healed it.
Yeah, good.
However strange that sounds, I just took that. I sort of just sort of like this sort of like ball of energy, which was a bit sort of murky, and I took that with me into the meditation, and then I healed it. And then when I came out of it, that was
Mm.
just sort of, it was just sort of gone.
Excellent. Yeah, perfect,
And
perfect.
I changed my perspective on it. And because I think the thing is, like, if you go with the first feeling, we
Mm.
should obviously always sort of feel our feelings and whatever, but I think if you go with the first feeling, sometimes you can actually be wrong.
Totally. Yeah,
You
yeah,
can wait a couple of goes before you actually try to address it.
yeah, yeah.
So, and I think that's really a
That's
superpower, if anything.
yeah. I totally agree with you. That's excellent. That's really excellent.
Yeah.
But with this meditation, our inner knowledge, if at first we don't feel any knowledge is coming forward in whichever way we need to. We need to address the word knowledge, or perhaps the gifts of clairvoyance. I'm going to be healed. I'm going to be this or that. It doesn't make any difference. But whatever we feel and is not forthcoming, that we may have anticipated. But with meditation, it will certainly 100% help our life. From what you gave as an example, if we overreact, if we look at it again in a calm state of mind, it becomes a very, very different animal.
Yeah.
But also, perhaps, whatever information we think is not forthcoming, let's not put the blame on ourselves that we didn't do it right. Forget that. Information or even gifts, maybe that is all that is needed for ourselves at this particular time. But regardless of the motivation that anybody has towards the meditation, it's only ever time and guidance that will show us what is necessary in life. And we can't buck the system. As you said, Thor, doesn't always go smoothly, does it?
No, it really doesn't.
No.
And yeah, I mean, I think it's really easy for us to say, we've got food in our bellies
Yeah.
and roof over our heads and so on and so forth. But challenge is also an equally important part of life as
Yeah.
happiness and joy. Because I mean, I think I've grown the most from when I've stepped into challenging situations.
Yes.
Even having to, like, my foot, which happens, and I couldn't cycle. I was much less mobile. Everything took 3 times the time, and I had to adjust.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lesson of, like, I mean, obviously my body still works, but I think my key takeaways is, like, really grateful for my health.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
remind myself that, really, really grateful for my health and ability to adjust.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know.
So, as you mentioned, the chakrams. So, when we open the chakrams for meditation, what we're doing is actually inserting the electrical force from the Kundalini. Thereby, what we're doing is illuminating the chakrams, literally as a lamp would be turned on or switched on. And this makes the chakram colors receptive for communication, both physically and spiritually. So, when we're talking about a spiritual link, we're also talking very much about the physical benefits for our life, because we're meant to be happy. We're meant to find ways out of our dilemma, which is very physical. Our physical life is super duper in importance. So by opening them up, communication is more receptive to the physical, to the spiritual. The chakrams also become more vibrant. In other words, they're more easily seen. And this is what a person can project. Oh, without somebody else knowing it, oh, I want to be close to that person because they're nice. And that's what we also pick up from others as well, which, of course, we're now talking about another word, which is the aura. And the aura, of course, can also be felt, as it is a reflection of the bodily functions. And now, if we speak of healing in that same vein, this force, as it enters the person in receipt of healing, would then be triggered off would then trigger off that healing force within the recipient, their own healing force, then finding its own level to illuminate and strengthen the color or colors in the same way again as switching on a lamp. So with healing, we're switching on a lamp. Self-healing, through meditation, we are switching off on a lamp. We need healers because sometimes our mind is low. We don't want to be bothered. And that healer then is able to help us switch on the light of illumination, of healing within ourselves. And in essence, what we're always, I don't know if anybody who keeps track of what we're talking about, we always come back to the basis of all that we aspire to in our life, which is from the calmness of the mind, clear thinking for our physical well-being, and also the ability to absorb the healing force in whichever way it comes. Absorbing the healing force means somebody is good to you. It's not always laying on of hands. Something nice happens. You see a flower, you hear music, anything like that. You smell a lovely fragrance of maybe a bakery. That's a healing. It triggers off just the right sort of thing. And that is the positive reaction of self. And that's what we're always trying to push, the positive reaction of you. Now, what is going on with your life? How can you increase that positivity? How can you find that you hold on to that happiness, if you like? What do you think, Thor?
I really like what you just said, because that is the gist, isn't it? Is that, and I like how you sort of diversified, but I suppose that is so many ways the gist of the meditation is that through opening up your chakras and through inserting that electrical force of the universe, you are absorbing the healing force, you know.
Absolutely.
And that will improve your physical well-being, spiritual well-being, emotional well-being, all of it.
Everything.
When you draw that into yourself, that is really. And then obviously, like listening to music, being with nice
Anything.
people, and it's just about opening your mind up to that
Yeah,
positive healing force of what is around you.
absolutely.
That's really like lovely way of
Yeah.
phrasing it, Ines.
You
And
know,
the thing is, like, you can do this by yourself.
yeah, that's right. Yes. You can
Obviously,
sit
like,
on the loo. If you're
yeah,
living with a lot of people, guess what? 9 times out of 10, nobody's going to barge into the loo.
yeah,
That's yours for a little while.
yeah.
In any place. And if you have, anybody has limitations where they live, whatever it is, guess what? For this time in your life, it is meant to be. And if we're able to acclimatize ourselves mentally, this is what I'm going through, this is fine, I will get out of it, and indeed we will, then we're a step ahead of the game. But I also, this might interest other individuals. We have a small following in Italy, in Umbria. Owen and I worked there, but now they're also part of you, Thor, a little healing group. And I got an email. I was at 3:00 in the morning for whatever. And there's SOS healing for one of her sisters-in-law. Anyway, I emailed her back, and she also asked me that you put it on your healing list, please. And also her husband. So, and I asked that they please keep me informed so that I can also pass it on to you, how the healing works. And so I'm spreading it around to our little group of healers.
Yeah.
Just to send some positive energy. Her name is Jan, Jan.
Yeah.
So that. But the word love is really overused. It's almost glib. Hi, love. It's not meant as a derogatory or form of address. It's a way of saying things. Hello, it's nice to see you, I think. But love is big and is a misunderstood word. But when we come to the healing, when we come to the meditation, our own meditation, anything, love is the power of self. We have to love ourselves. We have to love our life. Thank you for our breath of life, literally. It's also the power of the earth to keep it going. It's also the power of the totality of all of the power that is used and utilized around the universes, and there are lots of universes and the galaxies, and that is the power that is used and utilized for everything that we do. Anyone else that does this sort of thing. If it's yoga, if it's this, if it's that, it is a form of love. The love meaning the support of the physical being who is trying to connect, say, with more than just whatever is going on in their life, to try to understand, to deal with, to go forward yet another day, to find their level. That is, it's a huge word, love. I try not to say, hi, love. I love, you know, as you said, you like nice t-shirts. I love spaghetti bolognese. I love doing all kinds of things. It's such an easy word, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting. I do have some people who say to me, I don't necessarily see it to say it to other people, because I'm almost like, I'm not sure if I love, I mean, I like you, but I'm not sure if I love you. It's
Yeah,
an interesting,
precisely.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I also think it's a bigger, I also think it's a bigger thing. How interesting. That is the, but I suppose what you're trying to, is what you're trying to say, that love is also the cosmic consciousness, right?
Yes,
Love is also the electrical force that we insert
yes.
into our chakras,
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
you
In a
know?
nutshell.
In a
Absolutely in a
nutshell,
nutshell.
that is all love, because it's the love for, is it the love for like spirit or growth or just love?
Well, I think just love, because we're meant to be physical at this
Yeah.
moment in time. And we are promoting and allowing our spirit to progress and to move forward. And that's a big job,
Yeah.
because that part of us we cannot get in touch with. It's on its
Mm.
own little course. I
Mm.
think what I didn't say at the beginning, which I want, our spirit will certainly find its way. It will, but will we find our way?
Mm.
And that's when often it says that karma repeats itself. It only repeats itself if we haven't completed the first time round.
Yeah.
So it becomes sort of almost like what's that? Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day again and again. Yes, this feels familiar. You
So,
go, wow.
so on a more positive note, Ines, what's our positive message for the week?
Well, you actually said it right at the beginning.
Did I?
Yeah, you did. Happiness means calmness of mind.
I agree.
Yeah, yes, you said that right at the beginning. And it
Yeah.
is.
Happiness means calmness of the mind. Thank you again for another lovely and great podcast episode,
And you
Ines. I thought this
too,
was
Thor.
really powerful. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Thor. Thank you so much. Have a good week.
You too. Right.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Toodaloo. Bye.